Hello my friends.
We are very glad to see you all again.
Hearthstone Battlegrounds will go into open beta on November 12th. Players will have access to 24 heroes with different abilities. Some of them are stronger in the early game and some are better for scaling into the late game.
Today we have decided to determine the top heroes in Battlegrounds that will increase your chances of winning.
To do this, we have collected ratings for the best heroes from streamers and journalists, and combined them into one list. By doing this, we have created the most objective results possible.
After this, we divided all of the heroes into several different categories based on their power. Each category is represented by a number of stars. The less stars the category has, the less powerful the heroes in that category. In addition, we have supplemented the list with a short guide from Hearthstone and Metabomb. Please don't forget that in a few weeks we will get 4 more new heroes, new minions and some balance changes, which in turn could change the list of best heroes.
Let's start with the heroes who received 4 stars according to the data.
These high-tier heroes are almost the best of the best. Their abilities are consistently powerful and give you a decent chance every time you load up a game.
They don't always defeat top-tier heroes in battle, but you can always rely on them to be useful.
The 10th position is held by Jaraxxus. Jaraxxus' hero power hires a random minion from the tavern and gives it +1/+1. It costs 2 coins, which is less than you'd usually be paying for a minion, and the bonus gives you a substantial advantage early on in the game. Unfortunately, this advantage becomes less and less relevant when you're trying to complete a team composition.
Despite this, the momentum from the early game can easily carry you through to top 4, provided everything goes according to plan.
At number 9 is George the Fallen. George the Fallen's hero power would be the best in the game if it were not for its cost. 4 gold coins means you will not use this hero power early, and by the time you get to late game there are often easier and cheaper ways to put Divine Shield on a minion than with this. Divine Shield is still very powerful, however, so it's hard to place him much lower. Just make sure you weave the hero power in whenever you have the opportunity, and at the end you'll have Divine Shield on all of your minions. Remember, they keep the ability even if they combine into golden versions, so don't be afraid to use the power early if you can.
If you do pick George, make sure you look out for Nefarian's hero power, because for 1 coin, he can undo all of your hard work. This is one of the reasons you should keep an eye on who you're battling next.
Next in line is Shutterwalk. In the right situations, you can get some truly ridiculous plays off with Shutterwalk. It doubles your next minion's battle cry for 2 coins. This can come in handy in a variety of ways, from buffs on various minions to increasing your pogo hopper. In the last case, Shutterwalk's hero power can give you some truly ridiculous value that can carry you all the way to the top 4.
The right battle cries can make all the difference sometimes, but you have to find a minion with a good battle cry first, which is not always easy.
The 7th position is held by the Rat King. This hero has 4 hero powers that randomly swap each turn. A little confusing at first, but actually quite simple. Each turn you will have a buff for a different type of minion group for that specific turn. You need to buy a beast, mech, murloc or demon to take advantage of this hero power, and the right minion type will get an additional +1/+2.
Pretty solid, but the fact the buff only works on minions, when you buy them on their particular turn, is a definite downside here.
In 6th place, we put Patchwork. This hero has a passive effect that will give you 60 health instead of 40.
Hello.
You might think this is an amazing hero power, and yes, by default you'll be in first place for a little while since you are starting with 50% more health than every other hero.
The only downside is that everyone else on this list has cool stuff elsewhere, and by late game, if you're behind them, that 20 health isn't going to mean much at all.
You have to use your health as a resource, banking on weaker early turns and taking a bit more damage in order to set up more powerful late turns. This means you can take some early losses while you search for the perfect team composition without worrying too much.
Before we announce 5-star heroes, we want to draw your attention to an interesting fact.
No 2 players will ever share the same hero during the battle. Given that there are 8 players and up to 3 choices per player, no one will get offered duplicates.
You can find more facts about Battlegrounds in our latest video.
It's time to talk about top-tier heroes. You should pick them whenever the option arises, as the effects they bring from their hero powers create so much value. So, at number 5 is AFK. AFK's hero power is special. You are guaranteed to lose the first 2 turns, with nothing to show for it, but you then make up for it with the 2 minions you get for free.
Losing out on your first 2 turns is pretty nasty, and you'll be guaranteed a decent bit of damage to hit you. However, you will discover tier 3 and 4 minions.
These are typically far more powerful minions than your opponent has at this point, but you are very much reliant on these minions being any good to build around. If you do, you get a head start, allowing you to build your tavern up sooner and snowballing. If you get bad minions offered, then you are behind on everything with little ways to make up ground, as your hero power will do nothing the rest of the game, which gets significantly more painful in the later turns. Despite this, some Hearthstone pros are already saying that if you see AFK in your lineup, you should always pick her.
Next in line is Infinite Toki. This hero can refresh Bob's Tavern for 1 coin. The interesting part here is that the last minion will be a higher level. This is potentially very useful, although it is random.
This means you can grab some early wins, to keep your health high whilst also getting a bit of inspiration on how to build your team for the late game. The only downside is that you only get 1 shot at this per turn. The chances that it's a minion that fits your build aren't exactly great. But despite this, according to the community, Toki is one of the best heroes.
The 3rd position is held by the Curator.
This guy lets you start a game with a 1/1 amalgam that has all minion types, similar to the Nightmare amalgam. Thus, this minion is Beast, Demon, Murloc, and Mech. It means cards that affect just one of these types will always apply to amalgam. This lets you start buffing it up as early as you want, and this extra push at the start of the game can make all the difference.
Also, do not forget that Nightmare Amalgam is the strongest minion for its tiny cost, and definitely needs a nerf.
Now it's time to talk about Maleficent.
Yeah.
This nasty gnome hits a very specific synergy. All mechs you buy from Bartender Bob receive a +1/+1 buff. This really adds up, and sets you down a clear path for how you want to build your team. Obviously, buy all the mech minions you possibly can and beef them up using the various battle cries and buffs available to you.
Magnetic buffs are especially powerful here, and you can build yourself a pretty sweet board of minions with Divine Shield, Taunt and all sorts of other effects.
And finally, according to our results, the best hero is Nefarian.
That ain't good.
Nefarious Wind deals 1 damage to all enemy minions at the start of combat. This may sound minor, but keep in mind that Divine Shield is hugely powerful in Battlegrounds, negating potentially enormous blows from buffed up enemy minions.
For the tiny cost of 1 coin, you can get rid of all enemy Divine Shields, so you won't have to worry about a thing.
If you are playing as Nefarian and know your next opponent is George, without a doubt, use your hero power. You are his kryptonite.
Let's take a quick look at the other categories of heroes.
Here are the mid-tier heroes with 3 stars. These heroes will serve you well in certain situations, but you'll need a bit of luck for things to go your way. Don't discount them as options though.
You'll often find yourself doing brilliantly with a mid-tier hero.
These are low-tier heroes with 2 stars. These are the heroes with whom it's harder to have success with. Of course, they're not unviable, but you'll need to get far luckier or play much more skillfully to make them work.
And finally, the last category is garbage heroes. According to general results, they received only 1 star. This means that the best solution for you is to not pick these heroes at all. In general, the effectiveness of their hero powers is more than 2 times lower than that of heroes with 5 stars.
It is time to ask our traditional question. Do you plan on pre-purchasing Descent of Dragons? In fact, this time we received a very generous offer, and in addition to this, the possibility of early access to Battlegrounds.
We are interested in whether the number of players who are ready to make a pre-order has increased.
We created a YouTube poll. Find the I button on the screen, please vote and share your opinion in the comments.
Also, don't forget to spend a coin to hit the subscribe button.
And hit the bell to get alerts for all mathematical Hearthstone news.
Alright, that's all for today. Thank you for being with us.
And special thanks to Chris for text editing.
We will meet in new videos.
Good luck.